We're back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clifford Bonet, and welcome again, another Monday. It is what? The Boston Power Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited tonight because we're going to do a little something different. Just a little something different. Not going to tell you what it is, but it's going to be different, man. And you guys already know who's here with me. I can't be here all by myself, all by my lonely. I get lonely here, so I got my buddy here. What's going on, man?
I feel like ever since we started doing this, Cliff.
Yes, sir.
The Patriots are just kicking ass.
I didn't want to take that type of credit,
We started right after the Tampa Bay game. That was like our first real, get together doing this. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they had a little loss in between, an overtime loss, but 4 straight wins for the New England Patriots. They won 5 out of the last 6. And just... Dude, it feels great. It feels great. I'm on my phone right now. I have my phone out. I'm about to go on Instagram. I'm about to post this right now and show everybody, hey, we're live. We're watching. Those that are watching right now, we thank you for doing this. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube and share this with everybody out there. It feels good because, Cliff, Pats Nation is feeling on the top of the world right now. They're watching the rest of the league, and they're saying, wow, we just became from, down and out, that you're 1-3, you may have not had a shot, then you become kind of pretenders, and now they're legitimately contenders right now. And it feels like there's a couple big weeks coming up. We keep talking about it every week, and we'll talk about it later on.
We're going to talk about it.
But, man, it feels so great because last year, being the 2-5 start, and then you're crawling your way back, and you're kind of just staying an under 500 team. Your content sucks. The fan base sucks. No one cares about the Patriots. It sucks. It feels great to be back.
Harsh words.
And I'm telling everybody out there right now, it feels good to know that Mac Jones is the starting quarterback. He is your franchise guy, and this team literally is going to run for another decade.
I like that. But you know how we do every Monday. Let's start off. You always come with a rant.
Woo.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Let it out.
I'm ready. This team is oozing with confidence right now. I have never seen a big celebration where it's garbage time. It was garbage time because Brian Hoyer, your human victory cigar, was out there at the end of the game. He gets a throw to Jacoby Meyers, who made a great play on the side, fought for it, dives into the end zone, and the entire bench absolutely cleared out. There was a picture, actually, from Matt Chatham. Look at that dive right there by Jacoby. Just Superman, right? Flying right in.
Not the other Superman, but this Superman.
Not that other Superman. We'll get to that Superman later. Okay. But the fact that he dove in like that, the entire bench cleared. Matt Chatham actually posted it on Twitter and showed it from above, and there was maybe 2 players hanging around. It was Nick Folk and Brandon King. Mm-hmm. The fact the entire team comes down and rallies around Jacoby Meyers, because rightfully so, he deserves this moment. But it was at the end of the game pretty much. And look at that picture right there. Thank you, Cliff.
You're welcome.
Look at that. Perfect. The entire bench cleared out just for Jacoby Meyers. And I just want to show that it's not one man that makes the team that we're kind of used to, because that man deserved it. Don't get me wrong. There are so many different pieces on this team that deserve the recognition for putting the hard work in. And when you see something like that, and I said this, Cliff, today, if you want to explain the New England Patriots, the 2021 New England Patriots, in one video, one play, it's that play right there.
I agree with that.
It's the absolute team that puts it together. And you know what happens when the team comes together?
Talk to me.
They win this right here. They have this little trophy right here that they put out, right? This little Super Bowl trophy.
Okay.
So when we have the Super Bowl trophy, fans get excited. And trophies equal rings. Yeah. And I wanted to bring somebody in today.
Hold on.
I wanted to bring somebody in today.
Spike, wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute. There's a lot of things going on. You're going so fast.
You're going so fast.
I'm
going so fast because I'm excited.
I'm excited too. So Jacoby gets his first touchdown.
Yeah.
I like this. I like the name that you gave Mr. Hoyer. Can you repeat that one more time?
The human victory cigar. The human victory cigar.
I love that. I think that was amazing. That got me excited. And then I'm over here. I'm watching you as I'm producing. You got this beautiful thing over here.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. There's a lot of things going on the Boston Power Hour. I don't understand. To me, I want to say 1 or 2 things.
Okay.
1, I'm extremely excited because we have been making a couple calls. I'm going to give that to you, though, because I didn't believe, but you spoke to me. You said, Cliff, there's a path, but we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Okay, so today you give me a call and you're like, hey, dude, we got to do something special. I'm like, what is it that you want to do? What is it? And then you say, I want to bring in the trophy. And I'm like, you want to bring in the trophy? All right, where are we going to get that? I don't know. You know, I can do a couple things. I can't do everything. Is I'm moving things around because I'm just setting it up. I want people to know. I want people to get excited.
I see he's working like hard on his, he's getting it all ready. He's ready to get going.
Exactly.
You got something going on there. You're cooking up something.
You know
That's
what?
why.
But you did it for me. All I'm doing is I'm pushing buttons. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and gals, whoever's watching, allow me to reintroduce not myself, but this guy. This guy right here.
The man with the rings, dude. Look, he has it already set up. We talk about trophies. Introduce yourself. I think, do people know who you are? He's just like, what is going on?
Some people just, call me, the one guy. Other people say it's the silver guy. But I was actually nicknamed about 15 years ago as a silver bullet. And I'm at every single home game. And this year, 6 away games, so I'm only missing 2 games the entire season, and that gives me a chance to meet fans from all around the world. In fact, just this past weekend, I was with fans from Germany, Austria, and Canada, and it was just kind of crazy to hear from them that they know who I am, and they just absolutely had to meet me. And to me, it's a total honor, just to talk to these fans from around the world, because what I don't understand, obviously, I grew up in New England. So I'm a fan of everything Boston and New England. So that's an easy, fix. But how do you get fans, in these different parts of never, let alone the United States, but around the world? And that's just, it mesmerizes me. Like, why would someone in Germany, want to be, a huge fan of a team that's almost half a world away? And it's unbelievable. And it just goes to say, what being a Patriot fan actually stands for. It's not just jumping on a bandwagon.
Are you like saving yourself for a Lance on Thursday? You just seem so quiet right
now.
Very
like you just seem
cool. Yeah, it is what it is. You're the Patriots.
We're excited,
dude. Come on, we gotta get it live.
Here's the thing. So I'm still trying to get my voice back from yesterday.
Okay, humble brag.
So I was actually at work today. I'm kind of whispering. I'm like, okay, my voice usually takes about a day to get back because obviously all the yelling and screaming. I mean, when you go 45-7 against a team, that actually had a better record than us. And of course, Baker Mayfield, really? Well, I think that's what we actually said. Yeah, Baker Mayfield, really? Who? What? So that's what we kind of
Wait a
yesterday.
minute. Wait, are you talking about this guy? I feel like he's already taken over the show. This guy. Look at those stats. I'm sorry, Spike.
It's the putrid. It's putrid stats. 73 pass yards, and I think before halftime it was like 36. And I said this before the game. You didn't know what Baker Mayfield you were going to get this upcoming game. Baker Mayfield comes in, and they look great on that first drive, Bullet. Like, it was 7-0 Cleveland, and
I was worried. Trust me.
Wait, you weren't worried? You get with Silver Bull gets worried?
Like, holy cow, you got to be kidding me. Where's the defense? What's defense doing? Come on, guys.
I was cursing Hightower's name left and right. Trust me.
Again.
But I, it's 7-0 right away, and you're like, okay, this is the Cleveland team that's going to come in here, and they're going to make a statement. And then 45 unanswered points. Yes. And the team, they made no mistakes yesterday. Maybe one holding penalty on the Patriots, but they played a very clean football game. Absolutely. It was honestly unreal to see. And, you can't get tired of it. Because you said 45 points, every touchdown, you're still going nuts. You're still getting excited because you're saying, let's make a statement. And, Bullet, I saw this stat that said there hasn't been back-to-back games at Gillette Stadium where the Patriots scored 45 points or more in franchise history. I was like unbelievably shocked.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Because we have had Tom Brady and we've had the great run and then 07, and I'm like, really? That never happened. So
amazing, isn't
you
it?
get to see history again. Always seeing history with you, right?
It was pretty phenomenal, and as we know, Mac had his best game ever yesterday with 3 touchdowns and 198, passing yards. It's the Mac that we knew, he was born to be. And he's just going to develop and get better and better. As I've been saying this whole season, is that Mac's getting the training wheels off one at a time, and all of a sudden, he's going to go into turbo mode, and then NFL is going to get scared.
Yeah, do you think that, I always said the word system is not a bad word. The Patriots have a system. Mac Jones gets inserted into the system, Mac Jones can break the mold of the system and be the better player. That's what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady is better than the system, but the system protects him. Can you see Mac Jones breaking a glass ceiling in a way and having a type of Tom Brady like 07 type of season eventually where he's going to be more offensive threat? Do you get what I'm saying?
How about even better? Because the one thing that Mac does that, TB did not do, Tommy was great for doing quarterback sneaks for 1 yard, but we've never seen a quarterback that can throw and also run for 16 yards and be untouched, which he was at the Jets game.
Yeah. So, that's true.
And Tom would never do that.
Yep, that's true. That's true because even looking at Tom Brady would make fun of himself at the combine and him running and doing the 40. You know that Jones is quicker, and it's something that they're going to add into the repertoire for Mac Jones going forward.
I agree. I mean, and especially if Mac can set his sights on running straight for the sideline so that he will be untouched, and number one, hopefully get the yardage we need, and number two, stopping the clock if that's what we needed at the time too, especially if we're looking at, we just had like a third and 5 and there's only a minute left on the clock. And I think that's where he's going to be absolutely phenomenal that Tom wasn't able to do, because he would do a quarterback sneak straight ahead. And then, of course, we'd have to waste a timeout to stop the clock. But I think with Mac, we're just going to have so many more possibilities that were never available with Tom. And especially, we're doing more trick plays than we ever did with Tom, especially early in those years. If you look back in the early 2000s, we didn't do that stuff. Really, it didn't really start developing until after 2010. So Tom was already with us, for a decade, before we finally said, hey, listen, why don't we throw the ball here, throw to Julian, and then Julian can throw to Danny Amendola.
So your comment makes me interested to think this way. You have 20 years of Tom Brady. You can kind of go back into the well and pick, let's use a 2001 type of method here, but let's use a 2010 type of method here. Let's use a 2015 type of method here. Because let's face it, like Mac Jones isn't going to have the longevity of 20 years. I hope he does. I don't think we're ever going to see that in the history of this sport right now in pro football. Right. But you can take a 10-year Mac Jones, which is usually the quarterback, 10 to 15 years. Let's give him 10 years. You can condense that 10 years of 20 years of knowledge with Brady and kind of mimic some of those things. And I like that you said that, where you're not seeing an 0-1 Mac sometimes. You are seeing certain ways, like the Carolina game, for instance. Like you look at his stat line, it was a game managing type of day. Mac made a couple mistakes, but the defense stopped it. It felt like an 0-1 win. That's what Jerry Thornton was said to me. But then you look at a game like this, 3 touchdowns, 198 yards. He looks comfortable. He's airing out. That's like a 2010 Tom Brady out there. So it's kind of cool that he's always going to have the shadow of Brady with him, but it's for the positives aspect of it. And I think we're going to see a Super Bowl win within the next 3 years. I don't want to get ahead of him. We're going to see another one of these pretty soon.
I want to just pump the brakes a little bit because I'm excited.
No pumping brakes.
We have to, just a little bit.
Gas, no brakes, baby.
Just a little bit. Because so one of your fans came at me because you posted something with Bill running down the field. And I said, he's taking over doing the Brady thing. And he said, it's time to forget about Brady. And I said, wait a minute. I'm not doing anything but just making a comment.
Yeah.
I think we're just being a little too quick to try to erase all the great work that Tom has done. Like, obviously, I'll give you my age. I'm 47 years old, so I've experienced the Steve Grogan era, Tony Eason. Thank God I was quick. Then they dropped Drew Bledsoe, and then Michael Bishop, too. I actually like Michael Bishop. And then Tom Brady. But to say that you think that Mac Jones is going to do more, like I get that he can run a little bit, but I think what we're not seeing yet, obviously because he's a rookie, is him making calls and protection calls at the line, because that's so crucial. And that's what made Brady special. And I know some of the fans are going to come at me and say, Cliff, you got to forget about Brady. I am forgetting about Brady, but I'm also realistic as he's the GOAT, man. Like, he did so many wonderful things that I think we feel as though like any other quarterback can do that. So that's why I have to say, I don't know. I think we might get a Super Bowl with Mac, 2-3 years. I'll go with that ride.
Yeah,
I'll go for that ride. But I don't know that he will accomplish more than what Tom did. That's where my stand is. Thoughts?
I think he could in terms of if you look at the 2001 to 2005. Is Mac going to win 3 out of 4 years? Probably not. But maybe his stats might be slightly better than what Tom Brady was at the beginning of his season. And that's why I was trying to say to Bullet was, do you think that eventually as Mac continues over these years, it's year 5 or 6, that he's just going to completely let loose and just try to chase some records? I'm sure that Belichick, there are certain records out there that they're looking at that how can we get Mac Jones's name in there as well too? Because I always look at it this way, it's the chicken and the egg when it comes to Belichick and Brady. Who made who? At the end of the day, it's all going to work out. Brady went out. He got his ring. He shows that he's the ultimate GOAT at his position. Belichick needs to show that he's the ultimate coach at his position. And the fact that he can reinvent this team, the New England Patriots, and get a quarterback that has some similar traits. And I'm sure he could have did it with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm sure that he had Garoppolo built up in his mind that he knew he could put him, and that's why I say the word system, that he can put him in the system that he has around him, protect him. Garoppolo makes the plays, gets more comfortable, gets confident, and wins something. The Tom Brady, Mac Jones comparisons are going to happen every single game going forward. It's already week 10. Week 10's gone. And we were comparing him to Brady probably 100,000 times. But I don't say it's a bad thing because Brady has built that culture of winning, and this is what you're supposed to be. And Mac Jones is following in the right footsteps, something that Jarrett Stidham couldn't do. I'm looking at you because I admit it. Jarrett Stidham couldn't do it. I'll hype them all up as I have to.
Stidham!
And something that Cam Newton couldn't do, even though Cam Newton's a former MVP, and he's completely a different quarterback. It just didn't fit what the Patriots mold is, and it kind of shows this year. Inserting Mac Jones, going with your lumps at the start, and where you are right now at 6-4.
Okay, so here's my prediction, forecast, whatever you want to say. I do have to agree with Babs on the whole that there's always going to be a comparison between Brady and Mac forever, because obviously he just jumped into his shoes. But what you need to think about, number one, is that Mac has no first in front of him, and he's going to have this whole year to make himself. And yes, he does have Hoyer to support him, and obviously, as we've seen now in 2 games, Hoyer's gotten a touchdown when he's gone in when we've already been far enough ahead. The Jets game and obviously yesterday for the Browns game, which is phenomenal because I absolutely love Brian Hoyer, and there's a reason why we keep him around, because he's a phenomenal mentor, and all of the guys in the locker room say he's like a big brother or a father figure, which is great because it's someone they can look up to, it's someone they can go to. He's well seasoned, and of course he does have his own Super Bowl ring, being one of our backup quarterbacks. But I want everyone to think of this. Look at TB12's rookie year stats, and now compare him right now to Mac's. Mac blows him away.
I like that.
He's blown away, and this is just what we're seeing, from a fresh rookie that's not sitting the bench like Tommy was behind Drew. And of course, Drew was a great quarterback for us because obviously he got us to Super Bowl. But the fact is that Brady got to be seasoned by sitting on the bench and listening, to the 2 other quarterbacks. Right now, Mac has obviously backups behind him, but he's the primary. He's the first. He's the starting quarterback. And he's going to set stats constantly. Right now, he's obviously the best first-round draft pick quarterback in the entire NFL by far and away. Anybody want to try to argue that? Go ahead, because you're going to lose.
Yeah, he's going to win Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely.
He's going to win. And Tom Brady didn't win Rookie of the Year.
No,
so there you go.
Not.
So that's the thing of enjoy this while it lasts. By the way, I mean we don't know how long it's going to last. Absolutely. It can last 3 years. It can last 5. It can last 15. So it's good. But what's good is for Mac's case, and players have to stay motivated. There's no better way to stay motivated than always having that lurking shadow of Tom Brady over you and trying to chip away at that legacy. You're never going to touch the Brady legacy. Mac's going to set his own legacy enough that he sets his own identity and kind of steers away. And I think as time passes, especially when Brady's out of the league, people are going to look at Mac Jones differently, and maybe some of those comparisons start going away. He's always going to get compared, but I can't wait for the day. And I want to kind of backtrack him before we actually get more into Silver Bullet himself, because we have to talk about you. That's the reason why we brought you in here. I feel like there's a Tom Brady curse and it got lifted. Like the Pats went 1-3 to start the season, and then Tom Brady got kind of humbled a little bit when he came to Foxborough. Mac Jones outplayed Tom Brady that game.
Absolutely.
And it's not like the Patriots got whooped. It's not like the Bucks got whooped. It was pretty middle, coached and played with each other. And I thought the post game from Tom Brady, and we said it a couple weeks ago, that when he said that Foxborough is like still his home and that he'll be back someday, it kind of just set the tone of like, everything's forgiven. There's no more hate now. And since that game, the Patriots are 5-1. And I just feel that, you know, the sports, they have those superstitions and the curses, right? I thought there was maybe a little curse of Tom Brady, because when Brady left, he left angry. He left with vendetta on his mind. He left with revenge. And he got it right away in the first year. And the Pats went 7-9 and they went through their lumps. All of a sudden, we're all going to win after this. Everyone's going to win. Whether you're a Brady fan, Patriots fan, a half Buck fan, you're half Bucks, you're half Patriots fans, everyone's going to win in a couple years, and everyone's going to hop right on to Mac Jones in support, and even Tom Brady, when he retires, will be standing there at some point next to Mac Jones, and we're all just going to have complete, like, salivating, like, like this. I can't believe that the New England Patriots, for 3 straight decades, are ruling the NFL. Salivating.
I'm going to say this. I'll be very excited, obviously, because the Patriots. I'm Patriots fan first and foremost. Glad to see their success all around. I just want us to continuously just play sound football. You know what I mean? What was hurting me is seeing how we were playing in the beginning, and obviously there's bumps and bruises. The NFL is just weird. Look at all the weird things that happened this past weekend. But I do want Mac Jones to continuously to get better. I don't want this immediate success for him, if that makes sense, because I think the thing that separated Tom from everyone else is a couple things. One, he always said, what? It's all about the next ring. 2, he made money, but it really wasn't about the money. So I think that's what's really going to be telling about Mac Jones, right? What if he does become this superstar, but he's like, no, I want the bag. That's going to be scary.
No, I don't think he is.
I hope not.
I don't think he is. Well, I said this. First of all, what are you talking about? Tom Brady got rushed in right away and won a Super Bowl in his first year as a starter. The first year, yeah, he was benched. He was in 2000, right? But when his first year, he won a Super Bowl. He's rushed into stardom right away. I mean, you rushed into stardom winning 3 out of 4 years, Cliff. Come on, Cliff. He was there at the top of the game. Things are different now in the NFL and social media-wise and the way we perceive things.
That's my point.
Here's your first test. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's going to win this award right off the bat. When was the last time a Patriot player won Rookie of the Year? That's a great... I throw it to you, Bullet. Do you know? Do we know? Do you want to look it up?
I don't know.
Look it up. Curtis Martin, maybe? Or it's usually a quarterback. Drew Bledsoe didn't win Rookie of the Year that year because I know he only played half the games.
Glenn? Did Glenn win it?
I don't think Glenn won it. Look that up. You got Google. Look it up. So this might be a first for the New England Patriots franchise, a Rookie of the Year, and you got it in Mac Jones. Mac Jones running away with it, by the way. Jamar Chase is right behind him. He ain't getting it. I think Cincinnati's going to start falling off. He's getting rushed into stardom already in the way that people are buying his jerseys. The cease and desists are already out there for the Mac Jones merchandise, which Spike King's going to be dropping a little number 10 shirt. I said that.
Are we going to tell him? Are you going to tell him?
Jones. I wasn't dropping Mac Jones merch. Dropping number 10 merch. That's a complete different thing.
It is.
It's a complete different thing. But he's already liked, and he's already got that limelight. I got Bullet on the phone. I got Cliff looking over there. That's a good little thing to put out there. Who won Rookie of the Year for the New England Patriots in the past?
I got some interference. I don't know if maybe his phone's interfering with the mic. I don't know. I'm getting something kind of weird. But we can keep going as we're doing that. I'm going to hold on. Yeah, there's definitely some interference going on. But let's keep going. Right. Let's talk to Bullet. Let's get some questions in, man.
I'll find it. We got to talk about you. Silver Bullet.
Curtis Martin.
1995. I think that was the first name I said, by the way.
We can always go back, but I think you're right, sir.
I think that you got to go back on a lot of things. You okay with the audio?
Yeah, we're good.
You okay? You tapping around and stuff like that? We can't have audio issues. I know Josh Tumlin's watching right now. He's like, your audio sounds great. He was texting me. He's like, your audio sounds great tonight. And then this happens.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, Curtis Martin, right? So Now, okay, Curtis Martin, running back, quarterback. Mac Jones wins Rookie of the Year for the New England Patriots. This is a huge high honor. Let's talk about Silver Bullet. This is the reason why I brought him here. We can talk about Patriots all fucking night. We'll be here till 3 in the morning. Patriots Silver Bullet, you said you started in 2002, according to your Instagram bio. What made you start the Silver Bullet dress up of what you are in 2002?
I was actually offered tickets to go to Super Bowl. And in preparation for that, it was like, I want to do something different. And, of course, I looked at the Flying Elvis logo and said, I want to do that. Let's see the best thing I can do to try to come up with that. And, of course, as you can see, I did. I actually took 3 coat hangers and bent them and sewed fabric onto it and hand-painted it, to make what you see, here today. And, of course, went out and got some gray grease paint at the time because that was the easiest thing to find at a local party store. So I was kind of more gray than I was silver. And believe it or not, I did a sacrilege. I actually took a Drew Bledsoe jersey and ripped the one off the front and the back in his name. And I started off as just being, that one guy. And it wasn't until a few years later, after the Super Bowl, of course, that I was named in Miami. I was actually in Miami, and the camera got on me, and the announcers said, hey, look, it's the Silver Bullet from Foxborough. And I didn't think anything much of it until the next week I was back in Foxborough. And again, TV got on me, and the announcers in Foxborough said, hey, look, it's a Silver Bullet. I wonder what gauge bullet he actually is, as a joke. So it kind of stuck, and my buddies were like, that's it, you're the Silver Bullet now. So as a joke for Christmas, they actually got me my first ever Silver Bullet jersey that was an actual, one. And at that point, I said, well, I got to do something about this because there never was, well, there was a 1, but there wasn't a 1 on the team at the time. And at the time, mind you, Pat the Patriot was a 0, well, 00, then a 0. So I was the only one that was anywhere to be found in the stands or on the field. And I had gone to John Smith, who was a kicker, and I met him at a charity event and said, how do you feel about, me wearing that? And he said, absolutely. He said, I think it's phenomenal that you are who you are, and go to town with it. And of course, I was the only person to be wearing it until they swapped over Pat the Patriot from 0 to 1 because Teddy Bruschi was offended. He said, why is our mascot a 0? So they swapped him over eventually. And then, of course, Cam showed up last year, and he borrowed my number.
And then now N'Keal Harry
Harry has it, and I'm okay with that because guess what? All right, so now we have 3 number 1s that are in and around the field, between Pat the Patriot, N'Keal, and myself.
But then here it is that now the number 1 is going to now start being used anyways because now how they can use single numbers.
Right.
But now we can start making the comparisons. Who had the better number 1? Who wears it better? And always be Silver Bullet because Silver Bullet wore it the best. That's what I'm going to always put out there because it's in the future. The future. I actually think we'll see a quarterback in the future down the line, years and years and years later, probably wear number 1 at some point because 12 is going to be gone. 10's going to be gone, by the way, because the way things are going to go with Mac Jones, no one else is going to wear that afterwards. They're going to retire. I'm just saying. Bullet, you haven't been a fan just since 2002. You've been a lifelong fan. Like, what's your first Patriots game that you remember as a kid? What was the first game you went to? And then when did you become an actual season ticket holder?
Well, so actually, the first event I ever went to, Patriot-wise, it actually was a practice. And back then, in 1984, we didn't have Gillette Stadium, and we didn't have a practice field behind it. So the practices were done at what was then called Bryant College. It's now Bryant University. And I went with my great uncle, and he was the season ticket holder. So he took all of the nieces and nephews to see who was actually into sports. Or who would love, football, and the Patriots, of course. So at that practice, I'm yelling and screaming, you missed your block, and, how can you throw to the left when you know that they're open on the right? So my uncle just thought that was hysterical. And fortunately, after the practice, we went down towards where the players were, and I happened to have trading cards. And my first ever autograph and meeting an actual Patriot player was then, and as Cliff had mentioned, I idolized Steve Grogan. And I have his autograph on a trading card from 1984.
Wow.
And I still have it to this day, and I've met Steve Grogan many times since, and I've told him, I said, you are my first autograph ever, and I was 6 years old, and I still idolize you.
That's awesome. That's
and
awesome.
What a great guy he was. That very same year, because I was so into it, my uncle said, you know what, he handled practice very well, for the 2+ hours that we were there, in the beating down sun. And he said, I'm going to try him on a game. So he actually took me to the Miami Dolphins game that year. I believe it was like October 21st. Unfortunately, we lost that game like 22-44. And our coach was actually fired that following Monday. So it was pretty incredible for me. And actually at that game, so my uncle was in this great group of guys, and they had 20 tickets together. And everyone said that I was a hot ticket because I'm yelling and screaming like, come on, where's the defense? I could do better than you guys, and I'm 6 years old, mind you, at the time. So it was kind of funny because my uncle's friend said, any other game he wants to go to, if you can't bring him or you already promised someone else, he's coming with me.
Awesome.
So I just got to go to games from then on in. Of course, my mom was a little like, he's not going in, November or December. And obviously now it's kind of a ritual for me, to just be out there and bearing the elements, whether it's rain, snow or cold. But ever since then, I've just been, I'm everything Boston and New England. Like, so there's no team I don't like in Boston, New England, whether it's the Celtics, the Bruins, the Red Sox, and of course, even New England Revolution. I actually, my grandparents lived 3 blocks away from the Pawtucket Red Sox Stadium, and my grandfather worked for the Pawtucket Red Sox for a couple of years after he retired, and he was a popcorn and peanut hawker. So I got to go to games for free and had all the peanuts and popcorns I wanted. And believe it or not, even to this day, I've been to more Pawtucket Red Sox, well now Woo Sox games, than I even have been Patriots games,
really?
Which is pretty incredible. Yeah. Because, I mean, think about it, with baseball, they play every single day, sometimes double headers, so like I would just go to game after game after game, and especially if my grandfather was working, we knew we were getting popcorn and peanuts, and of course he knew the juice and the Kool-Aid guy, and we'd have our own little setup, and they'd find us the greatest seats, that no one was sitting in, and say, you guys sit here and we'll come over and make sure you guys are okay and keep bringing you, whatever you guys want to eat and drink. So and what most people probably don't realize is with the farm teams, then Pawtucket Red Sox, now Woo Sox, that's where the players from Boston go actually to rehab. So really? I've met so many different players that a lot of fans would just die for. It's like to see like Kyle Yastrzemski, or Jim Rice. You just say, how, why? But most people don't realize, hey, you can go pay. And back then, tickets were like $2 to $5, so you can actually go to a game and see some actual Boston Red Sox, players rehabbing.
That's unbelievable.
It is. It's phenomenal. And actually right now we do have, the Worcester Red Sox. I'll always miss Pawtucket because, as I said, I grew up as a child, from probably 3 years old, going to games and just loving it, being that close to what baseball is. And the other thing that people need to realize is also that I grew up playing baseball and football, so those are my 2 loves. So I was a catcher, for baseball, and obviously I was a lineman and a center, for football. So when you know the game, that's how you really love it. Like
it's different.
You can see plays, progressing, and I'll be like, oh yeah, they're gonna pass to the right. And they're like, how can you see that? I'm like, just look at the line.
That line.
Just
that's
watch
right.
it. Watch the movement that's out there. You don't even have to like. Think about, all right, so is he backing up so he can throw it, or is he going to just hand it off, to a running back? And you just see the way the line's already set up, and you're like, yep, that's what they're going to do. So what I can say is my love of all sports, are just built in. They're just a given. Even though, I never played basketball or hockey, I just still love them. And I have friends that are, huge fans of the different sports. GRD, a huge basketball fan. I believe it or not, Babs and I actually got into the Bruins Avengers. They just kind of like adopted us, which was kind of crazy. And people were like, how did you become an Avenger? I'm like, they adopted us. We actually did a charity, parade with them, several years back. And it's just great that the camaraderie is in between all the different sports.
That's what it's about, right? Because it kind of stems from what, when you played sports, there was a camaraderie that you were in the huddle and that you could not be beaten by anyone. If everyone executed said play, you were going to score. That's how we were taught when I played in high school. I think it's amazing just to hear you kind of just say and utter those words that you can see the play happening, because I'll do the same thing. I'm more of an X and O's guys. I pay attention. I see if they're going from 4-3, they back up, and now they were showing 4-3. It's really a 5-2 that they're playing, and that's on defense. On offense, they're just going. One thing, and this is a message for McDaniels, because for some reason we'll say things here on the show, and it happens. Dear McDaniels, it's okay when N'Keal Harry's in the game. You don't always have to run the ball. Don't always have to run the ball. I think people are starting to figure that out. But anyway, I digress. But it's really nice to hear these stories, man. Seriously.
So let's keep on these stories. Bullet, we know you've done so many home games at Gillette Stadium and Foxborough Stadium that I want to know what your favorite memory is. Either or. Whether it's from 1980s or it's from the now. What's your number one memory at being at Gillette Stadium? What's the one game that sticks out, or what's the one play that sticks out that you always are saying, I can't believe I was there for that moment?
One.
I know you got a ton of them.
No,
I know you have a ton of them. Just one. Bullet. Bullet to your head, Silver Bullet.
Yeah, it's down. So one of the most incredible experiences I ever had was seeing Doug Flutie, who actually had come back to the Patriots after having left us.
Drop kick?
And do the drop kick.
Yes.
I was there for that.
No, really?
I was there for that. And the funny thing is, he jumped up and down and ran around like a little kid. And to see a grown man that at the time was, 37 years old, to be doing this. And it was like, this is, and I tell you what, and the whole crowd just erupted.
Yeah.
Everybody was on their feet cheering him. Didn't matter if they were Patriots fans, or not. It was just, what an incredible experience. And I'll remember that absolutely forever. And of course, I also love Doug Flutie because I've met him many times, and what a nice guy, what a great guy. So I can honestly say that about most Patriot players. Some of them are just so phenomenal. I have my favorites, of course.
Right.
But just some of the guys are just salt of the earth. They just really. I was just with Joe Andruzzi yesterday at the game, and I just had mentioned to him, hey, listen, these fans would love to see you, and he said, absolutely. You just let me know, and
that's awesome.
I'll be there. And you just. Something, and he of course has 4 rings, 3 from being a player and 1 from being a strength coach. So it just goes to show you the kind of people that not only Bill keeps on the team, but Mr. Kraft, and they know where people's heart and soul is.
So what's your favorite road game?
My favorite road. All right, so here's the sad part. My favorite absolute road game ever was in San Diego, and it doesn't exist anymore. Actual San Diego.
Oh.
And it was versus the Chargers. Now, and it was 7 years ago. And the fact is, it was like a Gillette home game. Like, we overpowered them. It was like 75% of us and 25% of them. And the sad part, it was phenomenal because we had such a great fun time. It was actually in December. It was like December 6th. If I believe. So we left here and it was like, 20 degrees and snowing. They had to de-ice the plane. We got there, it was 80 degrees, and we jumped right into a heated pool. The sad part about that was I actually had a season ticket holder come up to me, and he said, you have the best owner in the entire NFL. And I'm like, really? He's like, I'll tell you why. He's like, your owner cares about you guys. Our owner here does not. And that's how I knew, unfortunately, that was the end of San Diego. He brought me over to where his seats were. He says, take a look at this. And he wiggled the rail, and it wiggled, and it was attached to concrete that just dropped down.
Oh my God.
He's like, he doesn't care about it. And they had the smallest Tron in the world. It looked like it was a 50-inch TV. I kid you not. I totally kid you not. And the saddest part was this. We had front row seats, and you actually had to walk through an inch of this disgusting rainwater that didn't drain, and it smelled like sewer, to get the front row seats. Like you're walking through this tunnel, you know, to get inside the stadium and then down to your seats. And it was like, that was just the most disgusting thing that you could ever expect to see in a stadium that you just paid $300 a ticket to go to.
I know why that it reminded you of the old Sullivan Stadium, because I remember going there and it did smell like sewer back in the day. That's why you love that. But I do have another question. I have one more question for you, and I don't know if you're ready for this. You brought up San Diego, and maybe you can help the San Diegans over there find this guy. He's still missing. Can you please tell us what's going on in this picture here?
I was actually with him.
Yes.
I don't know if everybody's aware, but I went to the LA game. That was one of my 6 away games for the year, and I was actually with him. And that's actually me there in
yes.
the picture. And as I promised Babs, I actually gave him the whole shh.
Yes.
Yeah. You were savage for that. You know, I've been home this entire year. I haven't been able to get out. I was very fortunate that I got to go to the game with Bullet, the New Orleans game. The way we didn't want it to end that game. Maybe it's good that I'm not going to games because it's probably better for the Patriots team. But you know, Bullet took care of business out there for me because he said shh straight in front of his face, man. And I don't know, it's fun. You know, it's all fun and games, dude. At the end of the day, actually, you know what, Bullet? Like, let's talk about something because I'm arrogant. I am an a-hole. I know people will look at me and be like, dude, I hate that guy. There should be no hate or animosity to somebody like you, but there has to be at least some point in the 20 years you've been doing this that someone's come up to you and try to give you shit before.
Yes, but I've been very fortunate this year. LA was phenomenal. All the Chargers fans were great. Houston fans, for the most part, were pretty good. Carolina, a lot of them were really good, except the really younger kids. You know, like there were some teenagers that gave me a little flack. I do have, you know, 2 really bad experiences. My absolute worst experience actually happened in a Southern away game for a team that their stadium at the time no longer exists. And I made the mistake of my 2 friends that I was with. They actually went to the men's room, and I said, "It's all right. I'll wait in line, you know, for us to get, you know, some food." And obviously halftime, and I'm waiting in line, and then all of a sudden I feel a punch to my back, and then the side of my head, and then my ribs, and lo and behold, there were these 4 guys that were all just surrounding me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they just started all taking a whack at me, and I said, "I tell you what, there's 4 of you and 1 of me. And I'm going to start swinging, so who wants to be first? Because someone's going to get something." And at the time, I only had 3 rings. So that might tell you something, too.
Yep.
Okay? So half the rings I have now. And fortunately, just then, a team of fans from that particular team came over and said, "He's a fan. He paid to be here just like you and me. Leave him alone."
Yep.
And then just then, my 2 friends came out of the bathroom. So now, at this point, it was now 9-4, and they left with their tails between their legs.
It makes me think of, and you might have seen the video I posted a couple weeks ago. It was in Kansas City, X Factor. He's the guy out there in Kansas City. I know a lot of different fan bases have these super fans, let's say. He got punched and got rocked, but the difference is that he was antagonizing somebody in the stands, and like, you never do that. You know, something that I tell about Bullet, I told this story, I think, 2 weeks ago, which is why we actually brought you in here, because I mentioned it. Cliff's like, we need to get him in here. Because I was talking about the fan of the year at the time. And when we first met, and you were giving me advice, you were saying, you know, the New England Patriots carry themselves as like Disney. Like they want to make sure this is a family-friendly setting. So you're Babs, you're a wild card, you're all over the place, but the little small things you do, like when you take a picture with somebody, put your beer down. Like don't have that out. Don't go in there looking to pick fights and stuff. Like just let people say their words. And trust me, I went up to Buffalo and they love to talk up there. And I joke back like with them, and I make fun of myself. You have to have thick skin when you go out there. You have thick skin. I mean, you have gray skin, but you have silver skin, right? But you have thick skin. It's just it's unfortunate that you get put into a spot like that, and there's really nothing you can do. Like you are kind of a target just because when you go to a away game, just because you are a Pat super fan. People get a little too much to drink that day. They think they can just bully you around or something. But I'm glad that there's others that were looking out for you down there. I had two more questions on my end before I let Cliff just kind of free range it. The first one is talking about super fans out there. You've been doing this for so long. There's the younger generation now. They see what you do. I love promoting you. I love putting you out there because you're the mold. Like this is, if you want to go the silver bullet route, this is what you should do. You shouldn't go Spike King route. You should not. You should avoid anything I do. But there are certain things that I have good qualities about myself. Do you have any advice for those people out there that are like, they love the Patriots, they want to be kind of like that super fan, younger generation, some do's and don'ts to kind of, because you know what, you want someone to kind of carry your legacy in a way one day, not a mini bullet, but somebody that kind of is another Keith out there. What do you think? Like, can you give any advice for those?
No, absolutely. And the thing is, my nephew's like, I want to be the Silver BB. So and I actually let him wear my hat one game because I actually have two hats. So the biggest thing I can say to fans that I physically said to fans that are like, I want to be like you, I want your life. And I'm like, well, the one thing you have to realize is when we're really down, you always have to say, have faith. Believe, don't just say that's it. They sucked this year, like last year. You can't give up, and you always got to say, you know what? We're going to get somewhere. We're going to do something. We're going to have a win, and you can't be leaving at third quarter. You can't do a marky mark, like from Super Bowl 51 and blame it on your sick child. But the simple fact is, you have to be there for the team because they know you're there. They feel you're there, and that's what actually. If you talk to any one of the Patriots, they said that they missed us in the stands last year. And the one thing about being a super fan is you have to be comfortable with people coming up to you at any given time and say, hey, can I get a picture with you? Hey, can I shake your hand? Or they want to, want some of your time and ask you questions. And the one big thing that I always have to do at any given time, especially, if we're going down the field for a scoring play and people are like, can we get a picture with you? I'm like, give me 1 minute. Let's just see what happens here. Yeah. Like, you want to see what's happened here. I want to see what's happened. Just watch. I usually tell people, I'm not going anywhere. You can take a picture with me. I'm not going anywhere. Funny story on that. So I was actually at in-stadium practice, and I had a bunch of little kids all lined up next to me to get pictures, which I love doing because I love the next generation, as you do, obviously, being a dad. And that's what we want to bring our kids into it. You want it to go on, your children, your grandchildren, and that's what it's all about. That's how we're going to have these dedicated fans that are brought into it and love it as much as we do. So I had no word of a lie, probably at least 10 kids all lined up that wanted my autograph. And Matthew Slater comes walking by. I said, you guys want to get his autograph? I said, I'm not going anywhere. I said, because if I was you, I'd want his autograph. They're like, oh, no, we want yours. And
that's awesome.
Like, oh, my God. That's Matthew Slater. But the kids didn't get it, and I get it. I'm like this giant cartoon character that they're almost used to seeing.
You're a superhero.
On TV.
Not cartoon character. You're a superhero. Is what, especially you get a lot of these kids that look up to you. And you have to have the personality to do it. You have to have patience. You have a lot of patience too, because as you just said, there's a lot of things happening on game day. Like when we went into the game together, it's awesome. You do your tailgate. I was pulling you around everywhere because that was an important game because they were getting ready for Brady. All right, and I was like your little PR guy. All right, Silver, we got to go over here for Fox. We got to go over here for NFL. We got to make sure you're at this camera watching out. Hey, 5 minutes. Now we got to go over here. It's a lot to handle that day. You're doing a lot of walking around, but like once we're inside, yo, he's in his element. The Optum Lounge, that's your lounge. It's the Bullet Lounge, actually, down there. But everyone knows who you are. They grab your pictures. You're kind of like being hospitality in a way for the New England Patriots. Like, you're being an ambassador for the New England Patriots, and they see it. They see everything. They're not dumb. They see everything I do. They don't like it. They see everything that you do. They like it. But they see everything going on, and they know that you have a good heart and you got good character. And that's what you at home need to have, that if you want to be this super fan or rise to the top compared to like just the regular person that goes to the game. That's what you need to have. And I'll tell you this, and you know it, and we're not going to say names. There are people that try to do it, and they're assholes. And like I've met a few of them that won't take pictures with kids, that won't give people the time of day, that just kind of scoff off at that. And there's been incidents where I might have ran into somebody and I just was having a bad day or something, and you're like, I just don't want to do it. And then they like, oh, wow, he didn't take the time to do this or that. I grew up loving wrestling, so that's what happened with a lot of wrestlers. You go up, wrestlers sign autographs, and that one person who doesn't get an autograph now hates that person because they didn't get it. It's hard to please everybody. It really is. And you know it. You know it's sometimes it's like you're in the parking lot and you're stopping as you're walking into all these different tailgates. And I know you won't just be, now screw it, I got to go in. You'll stop. You'll keep stopping. You keep moving around. You keep going. You're on the phone trying to look up your tickets, and someone stops you to take a picture. You're like, yeah, all right, picture, cool. And then they move along, and then you just continue doing what you do. So it takes a special person to be in the spot that you're in. And another thing, too, for everybody out there, things are not just handed to you. Things are not just given. They're earned. And you've earned everything and every right to where you are today, and you're still earning that, and you're putting all the hard work in. And that's why I want Silver Bullet to be Patriots Fan of the Year.
Yes, let's talk about that. Damn it. That's what I was waiting on. So, what are we doing?
I mean, the Patriots Fan of the Year, it's over for the voting. I pushed for it last minute because I put myself in it last year because it was a COVID year, and I found it. It's hard to find it. They secretly like put it down, so they don't promote it. Yeah. They don't promote it. So I saw it. I put my name in. I stuffed the ballots, quote, because I just posted it on social media, and I had about 65 votes. I didn't win last year. I knew I wasn't going to win. That's fine. I got the little recognition. But I got to go through the process, and I said to myself, and I said this, I said, how can we do this next year for Bullet? Like, let's do it. Because you're not going to vote for yourself. You're not going to promote it yourself because you're not that type of person. You're not about, look at me. You're not about that. You're just you. And I said, let's put something out there, but we're going to wait for the last possible moment. And I knew that you had all these games going on. You're traveling around. You're seeing all the different fan bases. You're down in Carolina. You're down in Houston. You're down in LA. You're out in LA. You're seeing all the presidents. And I wrote that one Instagram post. That's all I posted. I didn't post anything else. Like, I was just that one post. And it was just a perfect picture of you from the New England Patriots picture. It was probably David Silverman that took it, right? That picture of
Houston,
you. Yeah. And it was just a perfect picture of you smiling, looking up, smiling. It was a perfect picture of Bullet. And I wrote a heartfelt message that I believed. And you can only write so much, man. I could go on and on and on it. It was great to see the community of what wrote on just Instagram, but then I put that on Twitter as well too. And then people were tweeting, because on Twitter we're not that big, and like it's a way different world over there. Even people like, I met Bullet a couple years ago. He's the best fan. I had this experience with Bullet, just a couple weeks ago. He's awesome. I'm definitely voting for him. How do I vote for him? I got people DMing me, even the Upper Canada Patriots fans. Kim and Phil, awesome. How do we do it? Like, how do we fill this form out? We want to get him the recognition he deserves. He deserves it. I think Silver Bullet even deserves a little spot in the Patriots Hall of Fame. Can you believe I'm saying that? And I think it's true because of all the time and effort that you put in to this organization over 20 years. And not even that, now that the Brady era is gone, the one thing you said beforehand, you got to always support the team no matter what, even if you're down and out, because you've seen the down years. You lived through the down years. I don't. I was born into greatness. He's seen it. Cliff's seen the down years.
Seen a couple years.
So I think that with this momentum of Pat's Fan of the Year, and I know it's also shows love to their season ticket holders, which you are one as well too. I think that this should be there, and I think that they should have a little something for Silver Bullet in the Pats Hall of Fame one day. And I know you're not pushing for it, and I know you won't. I'll make the calls if I have to. We'll make the calls because it's deserved, and it's the fans that make the organization. And when you want to put somebody in the limelight and say, who's our number one fan, who's somebody that we want our fans to mold after, it's you, Keith. That's what it is. So This is why I wanted you out here today. This is why we have you out here.
It's love, baby.
I'm showing all the love and excitement. You don't want it. I know you're humbled about it, but it's rightfully deserved in every sort of aspect. And you know, I don't know how many more years we have left on this earth, and I don't know how many more years we have with this organization to still be the top organization you have. So let's promote the good that's still out there in our fan base.
100%.
And you want to talk about good? How about some of the charities that you do? The reason I get into charity work and try to do it once a year and try to attach myself to something is because of you. Because you want to give back to your community. I always said this when I was building it up, and I told GRD, I'm building this platform. I want to use that platform for something good. And I've gotten to work with Best Buddies because of you. I've done the Buzz for Kids. I've done Jake Santos' Teddy's team, his annual thing. What are some of the things that you've done, and what are your connections to the community?
Probably one of the biggest and most proud I am is Gilly's house, and it's in Rentham. And unfortunately, I lost one of my closest friends 5 years ago to an overdose. And I got involved with this house, and I just went full steam ahead. I actually was very fortunate. They asked me if I wanted to help decorate a room in his honor. So we did. There's a room called Kenny's Room, and he loved fishing, and that's what the room's all about. Just nice, seascapes, and his actual fishing pole is in the room. And one of my other good friends, who we were the Three Amigos, he helped me decorate the room as well. And a local Bible study women's group said, hey, we want to do something. And we all pitched in, and we made this phenomenal room that the guys have all just told us that it's so quiet and peaceful in there that it helps them to get through. And actually, just recently, one of the graduates of Gilly's house had told me that was his solace, to just be in there, and it kept him from thinking about drugs and alcohol. And this house is just phenomenal. It's incredible. It houses 24 young men. Actually, they don't discriminate from 18 to 60. They'll have anyone. If you have a drug or alcohol problem, they'll help you get through it. And they have step meetings in the house, and it's an incredible environment. I was a webmaster for them for a couple of years, and fortunately, I worked for a phenomenal job that said to me, hey, if you get us their tax certificate, you can donate them whatever you want to. So on a regular basis, including just last week, I sent them over a bunch of milk and juice and ice cream, and they love it. And but just being involved with them it makes me feel better knowing that even if one person doesn't die because of an overdose, then I actually did something, and that means a lot to me.
That's awesome, man. If we could, at the end of this, like to get some information about that as well. I'm currently in the process of almost done. I have another week shooting a short film about substance abuse. So things like that is pretty special. I think it's pretty neat. And it kind of, again, it speaks to, your character. We'll say, since we're being adults here, Brian kind of spoke to me as far as like, hey, just a lot of stories that he's provided and given me about you and stuff like that. That is not something that I knew. I think it's pretty awesome. And I think not only because of what you went through, but it kind of just speaks volume of like, from you telling us, you played sports, the camaraderie, to you being a super fan, to you now telling us the story. Just, I can see the picture. It's pretty dope. And I know if I was in charge, I definitely think that I would have a place for you in Patriot Place, for sure.
I appreciate it.
So,
thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get it done one day.
Yeah, we're gonna get it.
I will get it done. I don't know. We'll get it done.
100%.
Do you have any questions, Cliff, for Bullet? I know we were.
Nah, I think I was able to actually kind of fall back and kind of listen, which was nice. I'm back here. I produce, and me and Brian, we just kind of shoot the shit. And at the end of our shows, we typically try to get a little bit serious because, outside of sports brings us together. We're supposed to bring all races together and just forget about all the nonsense that we're going through. But I think hearing everything that you've gone through experience, the ups and downs, to the idiots that, that unfortunately took out whatever anger, I call that mental issues on you, to you doing what you just did for your friend and other people. I have nothing left. So what I would like for Bullet to do for us, I don't know if Brian's okay with this, is if he can lead the way so we can finish up. And we got another little thing going on next week, and I'm just going to present it right there, right on the screen.
All right.
What's your thoughts about this game?
Well, actually, I'm going to it, of course.
Exactly.
No big deal.
Exactly. Let's talk about it.
I'm going to Atlanta for 2 days.
Okay.
For the game, of course. I'm super excited about it. It's actually my first return since, Super Bowl, where we beat the Rams, of course. And lots of great people down there. We have an incredible fan group. And I'm spending as much time as I can with them, for the 2 days that I'm down there. Of course, the day of, the whole tailgate, pre-tailgate, and I'm actually sitting with the president of the fan club for the game.
Okay.
And then, on to the next day, which will, of course, be our... it's going to be a little different since we're kind of used to, Monday being our victory. It's actually going to be our Victory Friday.
Ooh,
Nice.
That's a guarantee. Right?
Okay. I like that. So you're saying the last time you was there, right, was when again? Can you refresh my memory?
The last time I was there was actually Super Bowl 53.
So you saw this thing?
No. That was 51.
I'm sorry. Wait. I'm sorry.
That was 51 in Houston.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness.
That.
You did see that. I'm
did
sorry.
See that, but
Well, Cliff, this is the thing that makes it all together, right? Is that you control the Falcons for 28-3 because of Super Bowl 51.
Absolutely.
But the fact is that 2 years later, you went into their house and won a Super Bowl.
Thank you, sir.
So, that's the whole point of it. And that's what it's like, the double dipping, dude, to be able to go down there. And no better time to double dip when you're on a freaking 4-game win streak. You're going to turn it into 5 games. You can't lose this game. The Pats are already a 6-point favorite, and you're playing an Atlanta team that's coming off a 43-3 loss to Dallas, which Dallas lost to Denver and got blown out the week before. The NFL's been crazy this year. It's a short week, but I just saw news today. Cordero Patterson might not even play.
Really?
Yeah, so in Cordero Patterson,
that's a big deal.
It's a big deal because Cordero Patterson is their offense. And
Absolutely.
I mean, they lost Calvin Ridley because he's taken a step away for his own mental issues. But no Cordero Patterson, who was a pretty solid playmaker for the New England Patriots and did win a Super Bowl at the time, too, with the New England Patriots a couple years ago. It's like playing Carolina, right? Sam Darnold sees ghosts, and they have his number. The Patriots have Matt Ryan's number. Bill Belichick has Matt Ryan's number. This is a game you should be able to go into, Bullet, and you should win soundly. And I think this would be a more game-managing type of game for Mac Jones. He's not going to tear out the stat line. I think it is important because it is Thursday Night Football. He did play pretty well the last primetime game, which was Sunday night. He's going to get one more, which is Monday night later on. But I think you're going to see a pedestrian stat line, maybe as long as you don't turn the ball over, hopefully 2 touchdowns, but maybe 175 yards, maybe about 20 attempts. I say it goes for like 16 for 20, but maybe just another ground and pound game. Get an early lead, eat the clock, stay healthy, and get your 10 days rest afterwards.
I like that. You know what? Can we do something different since, Bullet is here, right?
What do you want to do?
Let's have him ride the wave.
Yeah.
Can he ride the wave? Bullet, can we do that with you? He's going to bring us through. I want you to introduce the wave to him, but not only that, but show him the path. I know people in the path, but we have, that's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys have been following us for the past, how many weeks now?
I mean, this is like 5 straight weeks of the wave to the playoffs.
Wave?
It's crazy to go 1-3, Bullet, and you started the season 1-3, and we're talking playoffs right now. And last week, when we did this, they were 7th seed. They climbed into the 7th seed. Now they climbed into the 6th seed, and they're right there. And what's great about this game on Thursday, for the New England Patriots' sake, they win. They'll have 7 wins.
Wait a minute.
And the Bills have 6 wins. You'll have it. You won't be ahead of them in the standings technically because of the win percentage. Mm-hmm. But we got a point. Which way am I pointing? I'm going this way.
We're going this way.
It's like I gotta get used to this, right?
Yeah.
All right. So boom, down here, 6-4 New England Patriots. They win. They're gonna go 7-4, but their winning percentage will be about 3. So the Buffalo Bills will stay at 0.667, but you'll have one more win. And then the pressure's on Buffalo because this upcoming week, Buffalo plays, boom, Indianapolis down here, which is 5-5. So that's going to be a tough game. Tennessee Titans, they're sitting at the top. They're 8-2. They have an easy schedule for the rest of the season. They have like the Miami Dolphins coming up. They have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up. They have the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm pretty sure. I think they're gonna steamroll and stay up there. But this is the great thing about this Thursday night game: 10 days rest to get ready for the Tennessee Titans, and that's gonna be a great test for the New England Patriots, who hopefully are 7-4. And guess what, guys? If Tennessee wins, they're 8-3, and you're 7-4, and now you play Tennessee, you can have the same amount of wins as the Tennessee Titans and have the 8 wins, and they have 8. Maybe they have 9 wins. You're right there. So Buffalo Bills 6-3, they're frauds. I don't believe into them. Baltimore Ravens 6-3. I think they are frauds as well too. Kansas City has climbed their way back up. Pat Mahomes looked like Pat Mahomes this past week. The Raiders are down and out. I know that they've slid right here as the Las Vegas Raiders. They're going down, but look at this. This is still tight. Even Denver hanging around at 5-5.
Strange enough, huh?
It's so tight right now in the entire AFC. Pittsburgh even with the tie against Detroit, but I mean, Big Ben wasn't playing. So like that kind of hurts them, but you know what? They're still right there. This is still wide open. There's no better time right now for the New England Patriots to be playing the Atlanta Falcons. Hopefully you get the win. You get that 7th win. Then the real test comes against Tennessee. And then you have another test the next week against Buffalo before you head into the bye. And that's, I keep saying these make or breaks for the season, but truly will make a break. And we'll talk about more about that next week when the time comes. Bullet, do you think that they're going to make the playoffs the way they look right now?
I'm 1,000,000%. Absolutely.
So instead of the 74% or 73% that they reported today, Silver Bullet says it's 1,000,000% that they're making the playoffs. And you know what? I want to say this. I mean, going into the season and being truthfully honest and taking the homer glasses off, and Mac Jones was your starter and didn't have a lot of time to start. You know, it was Cam Newton's team until the very end. Did you really think that the Patriots were going to make the playoffs this year?
Not in the beginning, because at first we thought, Cam was our quarterback, and the problem was that the offense had already been prepared for Cam to be the quarterback. So I think those first few weeks, of course, was a learning curve, that, hey, listen, Mac's the quarterback, and this is how he's going to be running it. And I think that Bill had Mac on some serious training wheels. And then after, 1-2 games, okay, there goes one training wheel, and then he has one training wheel still left on. And I think at this point now, he's solo. There's no training wheels left on, and he's learning his way to get around the neighborhood on a 2-wheel bike.
It's crazy to go from, we're changing our mind almost every couple weeks. It's crazy to go from accepting that Cam Newton's going to be your quarterback, your starting quarterback, to then it's end up Mac Jones, and then you start 1-3, but you see we're just gonna go through our lumps, but we're gonna see the progression of Mac Jones, and that's what we want to see. And I think fans have accepted that. Wow, if they go 9-8, that's a win. All of a sudden, you go on the stretch of games, you win 5 in the last 6 weeks. You're kind of like, no, and then you see what else is going on in the AFC alone. Yes. You're starting to say, no. This team is gonna be a playoff team, and if they're not a playoff team, and I say this, I'm gonna say this every week, if you're not a playoff team. Absolutely. It's a failure of a season. It really is. There's no more excuses. Well, we have a rookie, and no, the team is playing well right now, and there's no excuse that they shouldn't have 10 wins now at this point, because if you got 6 wins now.
So true.
And I say there's no, and I always say that there is no gimmies. There is no gimmies. But after this week, and when you just won 45-7 against the Cleveland Browns, which you got to respect the Cleveland Browns coming in here. You didn't know what team you were going to get. I know Cleveland pooped on themselves, but that's the same Cleveland Browns team that just put up 46 points the week prior against the Cincinnati Bengals, who the Cincinnati Bengals at one point were leading the AFC a couple weeks ago. So that's how crazy this year's been. You have 6 wins. Atlanta Falcons, the Miami Dolphins, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and possibly the Indianapolis Colts. Those 4 more wins right there. Those are 4 wins. That should give you 10 wins on the season right now. You should have a 10-win season. And 10 might be good enough right now because of how the seeding works that you are a wild card team.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's awesome to see that.
Let's go.
Ride the wave into the playoffs,
That's
baby.
right. That's right. All right. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think it's about that time. Let's make some people some money. Bullet, this guy here, he's been known to make some parlays. Are you ready to do that?
Yeah, I actually I actually this past week I haven't been posting my parlays because I save them for the show now. You want to watch them, you save them for the show. Those are your parlays. I say you watch the Boston Power Hour. That's where you get it. Pick and choose what you want. Or always remember the lines change. Some of these lines I hit. They're pretty good. Like the Pats were 2.5-point favorites. They absolutely blew it out last week. There's some ones I take. Like I took the Las Vegas Raiders straight up. They looked like booty cheeks. Like that kind of sucked watching them like last night, Sunday Night Football. That team's done for. My buddy who's a humongous Raiders fan, Dan Jolly, I always give him a shout out every single week. He said to me right after the Ruggs situation happened, he's like, this team's done. This team doesn't have it. I stayed positive for him. They end up losing the Giants. You lose to Kansas City. Their season's virtually over. That team's going to fall right apart. Absolutely. But let's roll into some of these games real quick.
Right.
Let's run it.
It's a little bit out of order, but here we go.
That's fine. Okay, Washington football team at Carolina. Washington football team beat the New England Patriots, right? Because I'm thinking of Tom Brady. Beat Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was crazy to see that. And shout out to the Washington football team. They held themselves close last year in the wild card. Cam Newton has something now. I liked seeing Cam Newton out there. Paul, did you like seeing Cam Newton?
Yeah, it's good to see that he's back and he's getting the money, back from, Carolina. And he actually made a difference. He did.
And the haters out there about Cam Newton, his stat line was like 2 for 2 for 8 yards.
He was there for how many days?
He was there for like 3 days tops. They put him in the situation, and the team played well with Cam Newton. Cam Newton's going to play loose for the rest of the year. I feel that's why I like Carolina this week, because he's truly going to be the starting quarterback, and he's going to be at home. So this is his first time back at home as a Carolina Panthers. That's going to be some true home field advantage. So I like Carolina with the 2.5. And don't forget, Ron Rivera is the coach of the Washington football team. So it's going to be a lot of like coming home type of feel right now for the Carolina Panthers. They should have signed him the week prior, by the way. We talked about that.
Yes, sir.
New England at Atlanta. New England -6. So this is a high. I think this might be their highest spread this season, being that favored in Atlanta. I'm going to be a homer. You got to take a New England -6. They're going to run away with it. I could see them winning just by 10 points, though. I'm not going to see a complete blowout, but I like a 28 to 10 type of victory. Atlanta might get a touchdown somewhere in there, but that's just me being like that.
Don't hold your breath.
The defense looks so good.
Oh my
this
gosh,
season.
our defense is just on fire. They're getting better and better. And if you actually look at the Browns game, all right, so they had some issues, in those first, few plays, and all the way up into the Browns scoring. But what happened after that? They stopped them every single way they went, which way.
And McCourty should have had that interception in the end zone. It was right in his hands, and that would have been they would have pitched a shutout. Yeah. The Patriots are actually, you know what? Hot take. The Patriots are going to have a shutout at some point this season. Ooh. I think they want that, and I think that this team could do it. They have to catch it. It's either going to be a Miami game, it's going to either be Jacksonville, or it could be this week against Atlanta. Maybe there'll be a goose egg on the board, and that'll be for the Atlanta Falcons. All right, Green Bay at Minnesota. Green Bay, they just shut out the Seattle Seahawks. Aaron Rodgers didn't even have to practice all week. He just comes in the last minute, the day before. One day of practice, goes in, wins. I don't believe in the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they're a very flukish team. I did like them this past week against the Chargers, because screw Bolkod, but I like Green Bay. -2.5. You take them. Take them.
You taking them? All right. I might follow you with that.
What do we got next? Giants at Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay, in terms of betting, has been really, really bad covering the spread. I think they're like 0 for 9 covering the spread or something this year. Take the Giants 11.5. Although, again, Tom Brady's coming off a loss. You don't want to screw around with Tom Brady. That's why I say 11.5, though. I'm not saying that Tampa Bay is going to lose this game, but I mean, 11.5 is a lot of points. The Tampa Bay Bucks were just 9.5-point favorites, and your boy Babs is going to be in Tampa. I don't go to any Patriots games this year, but I'm going to go to the Tampa Bay game this upcoming week. I'm going to be flying out on Monday, and I'm going to be at the Tampa Bay game. So it's the only time I can get out to go to football games, Bullet. It's only during the weekdays. Well, why aren't you going to Atlanta then this Thursday? But it didn't work out with my schedule.
Why are you going to Buffalo? That's a Monday.
I am going to Buffalo. I will be in Buffalo, man. But I am going to Tampa this week. And speaking of Buffalo, this is a great test for the Buffalo Bills. I feel like the last few weeks they haven't had a really legitimate team. Indianapolis is hit and miss. They were 3-5, but then they've won the last couple of weeks. They've got a little roller coaster right now. An important game for Indianapolis in terms of I would say, in terms of seeding, when we were just riding the wave earlier, because if New England ends up taking the division, Buffalo slides down to the wild card spot, and Indianapolis somehow gets into the wild card. They want that tiebreaker over Buffalo. So a lot of things moving around. Take Indianapolis +7.
So now let's Bullet, just in case you're not familiar with the show. This is the time where we kind of say it's the end. We like to provide final thoughts, but I felt like throughout the whole show, it was kind of final thoughts-ish, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we're still going to provide our final thoughts. I'll lead the way. My final thought is this. Thank you for providing or offering your time, because I know we're all busy, but definitely coming this late. Thank you for the stories that you've given all of us here that are watching online, especially us two. I know he's heard these stories, but it was great to hear it from you. And thank you for what you do. I, in the past, being totally transparent, would look at super fans and say, y'all are crazy. Then I'd say, when I started slowing down and saying, hey, Cliff, you're not going to be a superstar athlete like you thought you were, I really started paying attention to the games a little more, becoming more of a fan. But then I started truly appreciating how far you go, which kind of got me watching that guy over there. That guy really is into some fucking sports, right? He's a little off the edge. I appreciate you talking to him. But he truly just loves the fucking sport. And I think we need that, especially with COVID. We're trying to get that shit out because it's still out there.
Oh, of course.
But the fact that you guys are doing what you do, I was out there. I was around his vibe, his mojo. We went to Gillette. We saw the people. He's jumping around. He's excited. I have a true found appreciation for what it is that you guys do. And for that, I salute you, sir. Sirs, I should say, because you too are a super fan.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my final thought.
I mean, I actually wanted to read this off. You hyped up Bullet, and our guy Kyle, I know you're watching out there. He watches every week, and he always gives me a little opinion. And this is what's awesome about doing shows like this. I love this setting. Bullet, this is what I've been missing, is a freaking setting like this. And when you have a setting like this, I'm like, I need to bring in people that have shared so many great moments, and this is why I loved having you in the studio. Pat's Nation loves Silver Bullet. I think tonight was my favorite show, hearing all the stories. I mean, you could be talking like nonstop. You have so much knowledge, wisdom, guidance, and history behind you, and I hope that this little show, and plus when we throw out the promotions later on and post a little bit more about us, I hope more people want to pick your brain about things, because you can talk about it all day, and you have so much to share out there with everybody in Pat's Nation. So I salute you for taking the time to drive out here this late at night, by the way, too.
That's right.
We're a late night in the lab, and you're able to do this with us, and everyone to be able to watch you at home too. Do you have anything to say?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Who's the studio? The live studio audience. Speaking of that, final thought. I'll give another final thought. We can get a live studio audience.
Yes, we can.
There's been people saying that they would want to come and sit in the background here and have an actual audience.
We could do that here. We can actually send them a link and have them participate online.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
It's actually gone like this Boston Power Hour show has been awesome, because every week there's something a little bit new to it. There's something that a little bit different. We want to talk about training wheels. We got training wheels too here. We're doing our baby steps, but it's going to get better over time. Bullet, my thing is this. You see the way I act. I'm never going to be a silver bullet. I'm never, but we're our own people, right? But I'm able to talk. I'm able to put things together. I'm able to network. I want us to be at fucking Gillette Stadium next year, sitting on a stage at Six String, doing a live pregame, postgame with fans, getting them into it. Because what builds us up as well too, although we have passionate love for the teams in Boston, it's the fans that also make us and support us and take the time to take the pictures and talk with you. And it's me doing the Big Mac celebrations, and you have 50 people DMing you Big Macs from all over the freaking world about it. It's awesome seeing how we can be leaders of Pats Nation different ways respectively. And everyone gets a different, like even Brian Walsh, who does I Am Pats Nation, he does his own thing. It's cool to see everybody out there kind of doing their own thing, and you see the different eyeballs of Pats Nation, because there are people that I talk to, I'm sure there's plenty of people that message you, that want to come to Gillette one day. They can't afford it. It's hard to get out. Or they only get to go to one game a season. They're seeing you go to like every game in the season. I want to see how his day's like. I want to see how Spike King's day's like. It's awesome doing this, dude. And we're just going to keep growing as we're in the social media like age, you know what I mean? So it's different now. So everyone keep an eye out for him on TV this week too, because you're overdue to get on TV.
So on that, I can actually say my final thought is this, and I know a lot of people say their dream is to come to Gillette, but in all honesty, I mean, obviously I travel. I'm off to Atlanta this week, and wherever's closest to you. And if the Patriots are coming, I just recommend going, because you're not going to be outnumbered. There's going to be, a ton of Patriot fans there. You'll find your way, into that group and the crowd, and you're going to feel right at home. So if you can look at, the schedule for, upcoming or next year and say, hey, listen, that's where I'm going to go. I mean, and obviously I know sometimes it's cost prohibitive to come to Gillette unless you're a season ticket holder. But the simple fact is, I mean, there's some teams where, for instance, you can go to New York Jets for a game and spend like $30-40 and get a decent seat. Or you can actually, go to the Jaguars, or for instance, the Atlanta game. I was told today that someone got tickets for $40. So it doesn't matter where you live, you'll still be a part of Patriots Nation. Find your way there. You don't have to come all the way to Gillette. Of course, it's phenomenal to come here, because we do have the only wraparound mall, for any NFL stadium at the time. But the simple fact is, I'm going to be everywhere. Patriots fans are going to be everywhere. So if you can make it, to Dallas, or you can make it to Miami, then by all means go there, and you're not going to be alone, because trust me, there's going to be a lot of Patriots fans there.
And the low-key thing that I love, and, I'm very, very fortunate in 2017, 2018, 2019, for those 2.5 years to do a lot of traveling, because I study a lot around me. The pregame parties, like on the night before, are so fun. There's always, and you got to find it. You got to dig the information out there. It's either there's a Facebook group for it. Sometimes it's out there on Instagram. I try to promote it, try to help out, because it doesn't matter. I want everyone to just show up to one place the day before the game, because they're always awesome. They're always fun. Everyone's there for the same reason, because you're all rooting for the same team.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter who you are. I always love seeing that in my time of traveling, and I know how much you love that too. Even the tailgate aspect, just because you're there at the game and you're setting up, I don't want to sit up in the 300s. I want to sit where Bullet's sitting. It's a little bit different, but it's about the pregame. It's about the tailgate. It's about the atmosphere. It's about the postgame. It's about just the love from Pats Nation. So it's crazy.
The one thing I always tell everyone is that 90% of the fun is the tailgate. So even if you only come to the tailgate and then you go watch it at one of the local pubs or bars, then guess what? You're going to have so much fun. I tell people time and time again, 90% of the fun is the tailgate, just the camaraderie, to be with all the other fans and, talk about what happened last week, talk about what's happened this week, and who your favorite players are. It's just incredible. If you even do live anywhere around New England, please feel free, DM me. I'm on Instagram. It's Patriots_Silver Bullet. I'm on Facebook. It's just Silver Bullet. I'm there every single home game, and anyone's welcome to come to my tailgate, whether you're going into the game or not. You want to go over to Six Strings and watch the game? It's an awesome bar. Of course, it's Patriots fans are going to be wall to wall. But the simple fact is that money should not be prohibitive for you to get the experience, whether it be here in Gillette or next week in Atlanta. Guess what? Patriot fans are everywhere.
People don't realize you can park for free at Gillette if you're not going into the game. There's parking area, you're going to the shops or something, or there's free satellite parking. There's ways to get around it from the parking aspect, because that could turn some people off.
Right.
Tailgating's free. You can just walk up, BYOB bring food or go to a certain tailgate. And as you said, just go right into one of the bars, watch the game. If it ends up being a blowout like it was against the Cleveland Browns, you could just leave at halftime if you really want to and get out of there before the traffic. Or you can stick around, have a few brews, or just have a meal, and then there's people that tailgate after the game.
Absolutely,
too. So
1,000,000%.
it's good to be in the atmosphere. And again, it doesn't have to be at Gillette Stadium. It can be on the road. There's always. I remember going to Detroit and they were tailgating at 8 a.m. for a Sunday night football game, and I was like, and they do that in Buffalo. They even do that. They tailgate so early. And again, you said New York. I love it's unfortunate you weren't there this past year, and I know you had a prior engagement to go do something else. The New York Jets game is becoming a fun game to go to because it's close to Foxborough. We're able to get that, and you've seen the pictures of just us with Ramon, Red Sox Mania, and he's the one who's been kind of centered around his tailgate. And I love grabbing I always love grabbing those pictures and try to get everybody together and grab a picture. And you see like 100 people there, and it's just all love, like everyone just coming together, everyone on the same page. It's just such a fun time, man.
Absolutely,
I gotta get back out to a game.
Patriot Nation is nothing but love, and if you haven't experienced that yet, I can't say enough about experiencing it, even if it's just a tailgate. And if you absolutely have the opportunity to go to a game, whether it be anywhere else, in New York or Miami, guess what? There's going to be Patriots fans and probably me. So, we'll find each other. And of course, the easiest way is, on any one of the social medias. Just reach out.
Or is tonight's theme just been about like camaraderie,
dude?
Which is what this team is about.
The
They're
power
having
of positivity, fun. Dude. I mean, if the Pats were on a losing streak right now, I think there'd be some different ways in talking. Right. I mean, he'd still be like all excited because he's the man and saying, like, you gotta keep your hopes up. I'd be arguing with him. No, the Patriots are down and all. Like Bill Belichick needs to be fired. We have to get rid of him. So it's great that. This is what makes the fan base fun is when you're winning games, they're fun, they're having fun, they're celebrating, fans are celebrating, the fans feel back because they already know what winning's like, but it's always better when everyone's on the same page. It's just so great. So I'm 100%. Excited, man.
Well, again, we want to thank you. Oh, real quick, Celtics won. Yay. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. No Celtics talk. They still suck, dude. They lost. They blew a 19-point
that
game.
That was disgusting. But
it was disgusting, dude.
We're not gonna. It's positive mojo right now.
Absolutely. One for GRD on the eve of his birthday.
Yay! Oh, it's his birthday. Happy birthday. All right. Well, that's it. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you subscribe to the Boston Power Hour. Actually, that's our Instagram page.
Yeah, so we got Instagram, Twitter.
We're gonna get all this.
Yeah, I know. We have
really
a lot.
soon.
We have a lot going on, dude. You subscribe to the CliffNotes project. That's where the house is right now.
Yes.
That's where we put everything.
That's
on
where the
here.
network is. Is where we're gonna put a lot of the footage, everything together there. But again, Silver Bullet, thank you, my guy B. As always, thank you. Let's get the fake crowd all up, applaud everyone. It's going. Trust me, it's out there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again, thank you for joining us at the Boston Power Hour. I'm going to end it off.
Let's go!